Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for Mining Journal, and today I'm speaking with Theta Gold Non-Executive Director Byron Dumpleton. Now, Byron, for anyone new to the company, can you please outline the initial mining plans that Theta has for the TGME underground mine in South Africa, which I understand is only really going to touch on 4 of the 43 historical mines you've got at your fingertips there?
Yeah, not a problem there, Nari. Yeah. So I suppose I'll start initially. What we're tackling is the initial plan is based on our extensive JORC resource of 6.1 million ounces, which has been developed over the Pilgrim Gold Rest goldfields, which is a historic goldfields located about 370 kilometres east of Johannesburg. So, which of course Johannesburg's famous for the Witwatersrand, so a very big gold district in its own rights. The initial mine plan, well, it's kicking off. Well, first of all, we're going to develop and commission a 540,000 tonne operation, which incorporates a new processing plant. This processing plant is designed in a modular fashion that suits our ore sources as they come online through the mining sequences over the life of mine. Initially, we start off with the mine called Beta. Beta is a flat ore body. It's an historic ore body, but it has extensive mineralisation left on the periphery of where the old timers took out the high grade core, if you like, and bring on today, where it's going to deliver a significant proportion of the reserves for the first 7 years. With that, we bring on a second mine called Riffontein, which is a vertical near steep mine, where we'll introduce shrink stoping through there. Yeah, I'll bring you back to Beta mine. I mean, historically, the old timers mined it with air leggers. It's also in the past been attempted to mine by back in 2015 with mechanical gear, but that time they used the wrong selection of gear. Moving forward to where we're at with the DFS and what sort of gear we're going to mechanise it, which is great for South Africa because we have a no harm policy. So when we bring in the mining teams who have a strong air leg base, we introduce them to mechanical mining, and we'll be mining with these narrow vein things. So in other words, instead of mining typically in an underground, people used to Australia, where we mine the whole face, which could be up to 4.8 to plus to 5 metres. This case where we develop on the load, we resume mine, so we take out the waste and then we take the load as part of that development. And then when we commence our stoping, we just take a very narrow slot, sub-metre slot out of it, which gets fired back to our collection drive, and where we pick it up there with a bogger and put it in a truck and truck it out. So by doing that, we maintain quality ounces, if you like, so we're not diluting the ore body. Probably things that unique about these ore bodies that we are mining, especially with Beta, they're high grade. So we have an average stoping grade of around about just shy of 6 grams in our first 7 years, which is coming from Beta and Riffontein. You're averaging a grade around about 7 grams per tonne, which is today high grade. I'll go back to Beta, these fat reefs, they have the ore itself has an average width of around about 30 centimetres, but they're going average grade around half an ounce. So here it's all about managing the dilution. So the team there on site have utilising the appropriate mining method, which are used throughout the world. So there's nothing sort of new that we're doing, but apart from introducing mechanised mining into this area. In terms of tonnage that is coming out, so Beta will be we'll ramp that up to about 30,000 tonnes per month, and Riffontein, once it gets going, is around about 15,000. So that gives about 45,000 tonnes per month feeding into the new processing plant. Probably the key things is we get into production. Let's just check here, is within about 18 months and of once we get approvals and the get-go from construction.
Byron, you mentioned approvals. How's the permitting process going?
Right. For the permitting process, all the documents have been submitted for the first 3 mines. So that's the for Beta, CDM, and Rifrentine. We've had the 4th mine, known as Frankfurt, that is now fully permitted, and we can go there and we can commence mining, which we do plan to do a 3,000 tonne trial stope there for trialing that ore. At the moment, we're just for the permitting process, we're just waiting for two more permits to come through. These are the EIA and the water usage license. We expect to see those approvals come through this quarter. Now, the EIA was submitted in July last year, and it's a very comprehensive document, so it takes a while to get through. So things to note, we've every permit we've put in and applied for, we have gotten received. So we have high confidence we should get these 2 permits, which is the EIA and the water usage license. And then once we get permitting, then there's a 90-day review and objection period in the local community. But we see that they haven't objected at all from any other permits have gone through, and they have very strong support for there.
Well, in terms of that support in the community, I've heard the area described as not your typical provincial location in South Africa. What's it actually like there, also in terms of infrastructure?
Okay, well, we'll start first. First of all, the area is it's not overcrowded, so it's a good 370 km from Johannesburg. It is a hilly terrain, but what is unique when we say it's not your typical goldfields, Witwatersrand sort of or South African style goldfield that people are used to know, it's very shallow. So all these mines basically start at surface, they're flat, and all we require to get into is what we call adits. So we just enter from the side of the hills. These mines are very shallow, so obviously from surface, and the deepest mine that we have is only 500 metres below surface. So there, that's we call that unique in terms of sense compared to what most people think of South African mines as, gold mines, deep, and so on. The communities, well, communities are reasonably small, but they have a strong mining background. Like there's up to 4th generation miners, because the district have been involved in mining for the last 130 years. Pilgrim's Rest was the first gold rush in South Africa. So there's that strong background as well. Importantly, on the infrastructure. So as we stated, it's only 4.5 hour drive from Johannesburg, and that's supported by a 4-lane tollway through there, and all your country roads are tarred, so very easy to get around. And more importantly, is Johannesburg is a well-supported town with a significant amount of manufacturing, significant amount of mining, sort of consultants through to manufacturers, through to suppliers. So I mean, it's probably even bigger than you get goldfields, if you like, or Kalgoorlie of your goldfields. So it's very well supported.
And in terms of financing, Byron, can you elaborate on the significance of the streaming agreement that you have in place with Sprott now? Yes,
not a problem. All right, so to start with, Sprott due diligence team has started through there, and with their DT teams, they've been to site and they're completing their due diligence now. We expect that they will finish their work here this quarter, and we'll obviously enter in our final negotiations on the terms. And I'll just go through the key streaming agreement that is there. First of all, it's starting off, it's obviously non-binding at the moment, for $70 million US or 110 Australian. Use of these funds will be for pre-development, development, or development capital and operating expenditure to bring the initial stage of the gold project into production to reach positive cash flow. The Sprott provide us obviously 70 million cash in return for a gold stream. First of all, as part of that, the term sheet is that we to deliver up to 100,000 ounces over the life of the gold project, of which we can pay buy out 50% of those ounces. Once we've completed delivered that 100,000 ounces, or 50,000 if we buy out the rest, is they take a stream. They get 2% of production or gold ounces for the life of the project. Probably the other thing is during that period, any advances in funds, we pay a 9.5% annual interest rate, where we pay biannually, or we can provide them with script at a 10% discount rate over a 5-day VWAP.
So there's plenty happening, Byron, but what can investors expect to hear in the coming months?
Well, over the next coming months, obviously receiving the approvals of the last 2 permits, of which once we get that's 1, and 2, obviously the finishing off our agreements, or signing off on a binding term sheet with Sprite. Look, with back to Sprite, we believe we've delivered a very strong technical project. So we just got to wait for that process to finish. So once we got there, we'll let the public know. Probably moving forward, we are looking at doing a trial mining in the about 3,000 tonnes in our mine called Frankfurt. So that should help with actually bringing cash forward if that's successful.
Fantastic. Well, Byron, thank you very much for the update today.
No, not a problem. Thanks, Nara.